Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Hey there, have you ever been told that cholesterol is the enemy of your heart health? What if we told you that everything that you've been taught or told regarding cholesterol is not only wrong, but could be dangerous for your health? In this episode, we're going to peel back the layers, the myths, the lies, and misconceptions all about cholesterol and show you why your body does need cholesterol in order to be able to thrive. Today, we're going to expose the myths that the pharmaceutical medical profession does not want you to know, so forget about what you've heard about lowering cholesterol and popping the medication. This conversation might not only change your life, but your family's lives as well. This right here is another episode of the Happy Healthy Life Podcast with your host, Rob and
Randy.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Guys?
So this show is important, and it's important because of all the things that we have been taught about cholesterol since forever ago, how they're wrong. And not only they're wrong, they are dangerous. So today we're going to be talking about that. And here's what actually really inspired us to do this show, not only because of the clients that we have that are asking great questions, and that's what we always say is the size of your life is only equivalent to the size of the questions that you ask it. We're teaching you how to think, not what to think. So don't take our words for anything that it is that we say. Go do your own research, and what you'll find is that we are teaching you guys the truth. So what is it, Dr. Randy, that inspired us to do this episode today?
Yeah, well, we got an email, an awesome email or a message to our Instagram account. So we'd encourage you guys to listen, shoot us your questions, give us your comments. We love this because it gives us a chance to customize and curate everything we do in this podcast to help you guys get out of the medical matrix and get back in charge of your health. And I would also say, before I jump into this message we got, which will start the conversation on cholesterol, is really, listen, it's kind of what you said. The burden of proof isn't on us. We're not making the claim that everybody needs to have low cholesterol. The burden of proof is on the for-profit drug industry. Remember that. Whether you take cholesterol drugs or you don't take cholesterol drugs, we don't make a dime. But guess who does? So always remember, chase, follow the money, and you'll find out really where the propaganda originates from and kind of why they want everybody, it seems like now, taking more drugs for every problem that we have, Dr. Rob. It seems like there is a chemical cure. And here's what you got to know at a foundational principle. There isn't any condition in the world that is caused by a lack of chemical. It's not a drug deficiency. It is a metabolic problem that has real metabolic solutions. And none of those solutions are drug-based. I say all that to say this. So we got an awesome message. And guys, if you want to reach out to us and want us to answer any of your questions, go to the H2 Live. That's the letter H, number 2 Live on Instagram, and shoot us a message, and we will definitely answer your questions. This one actually comes from a guy we used to work with years ago. Him and his family live in New Zealand. And he reached out. He just turned 44, he said, in October.
Such a baby.
I know, right? I'm like, remember when 44 was like, man, that person's old and out of touch. And now being 50, it's like, man, that's young.
What a youngster. Yeah.
It is. And it can be young at any age, right? But so he's obviously getting concerned about his health. We haven't had a lot of contact with him in years, but he used to work for us, a part of our videographer team. We'd obviously helped him and his family lose tons of weight and get out of the system. And he doesn't want to be in the system, but here he is at 44, and he's really struggling with his health. So he jumps on the carnivore diet. Okay. So he loses 31 pounds, which is awesome. And he said, I've got better mental clarity, laser focus, energy levels are great, no more bloating after meals, aches and pains gone, feeling better, honestly better than I felt in 20 years. That's all good and great. We'll talk more about maybe the carnivore lifestyle and why it probably isn't the best long-term strategy. But I have a feeling if he went down that road, he's eating more real food nutrition.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
he's cutting out all the processed food, the processed sugars, the artificial sweeteners, and all the things that can disrupt our metabolism and wreck our gut, and obviously avoiding seed oil. So here's what he says. He goes, I decided after going through this journey for a few months, I wanted to get some blood work done just to check and see how I was doing, which is interesting, by the way. To find out how you're doing, your mind would go, yeah, I want to go to my medical doctor, get blood work done so they can tell me if I'm doing good or if I'm doing bad. Super interesting. He goes, because I've been feeling so good here in New Zealand, I have to go through a general practitioner to get any lab work done. He goes, everything came back on my blood work looking good, except my doctor is extremely alarmed at my cholesterol levels. He even said, and I quote, dangerously high. He asked me to go back and get it rechecked yesterday, which I did. Still waiting to get those results back, but I'm not expecting to change much. Everything I've learned about lifestyle and health from you guys, and everything I've read says if you eat more animal foods, it will elevate your cholesterol level, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, is what I believe. Everything I've researched basically says cholesterol levels are pretty much a made-up fallacy by the sugar industry. Whether that's true or not, we'll dive into that. He goes, I'm okay with it because I generally just feel so great. But when the doc called back, my wife, Sarah, overheard him on speaker, and it's just really got me anxious. She wants me to quit the diet and migrate to more of a keto lifestyle, which I'm also not entirely close to, but I did want to continue giving carnivore a really good shot first. So I promised I'd reach out to you guys, the happy, healthy guys, my trusted friends and leader, and another chiropractor friend I have in New Zealand to get another opinion. I'm attaching my lipids. He sent over his blood work. Don't send that because we're not reading your blood work and giving analysis back, but he is a close friend, so we made an exception. He goes, sorry for the long email, but I wanted to give you some background first. I really appreciate your wealth of knowledge, and I want to make sure I'm going down the right road, and I don't want to be in this system of doctors. Thank you for taking the time to read this message.
Yeah, I love him too. He and his family, beautiful family. What I love about Andrew, because I was actually next door neighbors with him and adjusted their kids as soon as they were born when I was in chiropractic practice. And so one of the things that I really love about him is that he's always inquisitive and asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
He may not always ask the right questions, but he's a lot of the questions that he's asking is based on, the teaching that he had before. So it's like all the people that are around us, they always want to know, okay, what does your blood work say?
Yeah.
Well, who's recommending the blood work? You got to go backwards, right?
Yeah.
And so if it's the doctor that recommended the blood work and the doctor is reading the blood work, why in the world does a doctor read the blood work in the first place?
Well, they're trying to find something wrong.
Right.
And listen, we're not saying that all blood work is,
and doctors are bad.
yeah, right? Not valuable. It doesn't provide some type of feedback, but it is a snapshot. And it's really the blood work parameters, especially cholesterol, are set by the drug industry.
Correct.
And this is what's interesting, Dr. Rob, because for most of us, I know you and I in our community, and for a lot of people who listen to us in the circles that we run in, and really just common sense, if you said, hey, who in here would turn your health over to the pharmaceutical industry? I have a feeling a lot of people would say, well, I would never do that because that wouldn't make any sense, because obviously their goal is to help keep people on drugs the rest of your life. In fact, most pharmaceutical companies have been around since the 1800s, the late 1800s to mid, and they haven't found one cure for one disease yet. And it's 2024, and they're making more money than ever before. So the premise that you would turn your health over to this industry is ludicrous. However, that's exactly what you do when you turn your health over to a Western trained medical doctor, because guess who trains your doctor on how to treat you? The answer is
pharmaceutical
pharma. This is what they do.
Yeah, think about it this way too. If you know anybody who's ever been in that industry, when you go to, we just got back from a mastermind this last weekend, which has got high level, high thinking entrepreneurs in the field of holistic health and wellness. Okay. So if you go to a pharmaceutical convention, the way they start those meetings off, and we've talked to people who are pharmaceutical reps who are in the industry, they start those meetings with talking about the shareholders, talking to the shareholders, talking about the profits that they've made so far this year, the profits that they made last year. When they do their breakout sessions are teaching the sales reps how to be able to sell more medications to the different drug reps that are there. That's what it really is all about. It's all about the profits. They're not talking about the health of the individual patient who's coming into those doctors' offices. Versus this last weekend, as we're sitting there, we're in a room with there are billionaires in the room. There are people whose companies did do 500 plus million last year, 100 plus million last year. And here's the one thing that they do not ever talk about. I was thinking about that this morning. They don't ever talk about money, ever. Here's what they do talk about. They talk about impact and contribution to the world. They talk about the problem that they are trying to solve in the world. For one of these people, it was all about having clean energy, good, sustainable food, regenerative agriculture. Another one, it was about making sure that the entire world is healthy, detoxing the cells inside their body, or detoxing their bodies of all of the toxic, harmful chemicals that have been put in, causing their health to be wrecked. It's about solving that riddle. The riddle that we solve is healing the world of this metabolic crisis that's out there and doing our very best to make an impact and make contribution to the world for that. That's what we talk about, and that's the difference here. So felt like I needed to say that because as we're looking at the way that our health works, cholesterol is actually something that is necessary in your body. God put it in there for a reason, which is why it's inside there. It's not the villain. It's not something that needs to be reduced or taken out. It has many different health benefits, and I think we can talk about some of those benefits as we're giving you guys this information that's critical for your health and your longevity.
No, that reminds me of one of our good friends. I remember Gwen Olson. Who worked in the pharmaceutical industry for decades.
Yeah, she was a rep.
Very decorated, was a high-end pharmaceutical rep. In fact, ended up leaving the profession, writing a book called Confessions of a Prescription Drug Pusher. And what got her out of the industry was at that time, she was working with I think it was Merck or Pfizer, and they were pushing these antidepressants, and her niece ended up on these antidepressants and ended up hanging herself from a ceiling fan and lighting herself on fire. Devastating. Seems pretty extreme, but it wasn't too extreme for Gwen. She leaves the industry and writes these books and now speaks all over the country. Remember, we brought her in a packed out places back when we were in clinical practice to help get this message out there. But the point is, almost every single thing we've been taught and believe about health was actually born from the idea that there's one cause to disease, it's a lack of chemicals, and there's one cure to disease, and it's the appropriate chemical that you take. That is the foundation of the pharmaceutical industry. And you can never, ever poison yourself into health. How many times, Dr. Rob, have we said, if you give drugs to a healthy person, it's going to make them sick? How is giving drugs to a sick person, how is that going to make them healthy? It just isn't possible. So going back to really the burden of proof is on them. They're making the claim. All we're doing is falsifying the claim, and now they owe us an explanation, and you're probably not going to get it. So we're going to give you the explanation. We're going to dive in and tell you what to do and really help you. Just number one thing you can do to not destroy your health and your life is stop doing the things that are making you sick. So just like Andrew sends us that email, he doesn't want to end up on drugs, but he goes to the doctor, he gets the blood work, and now obviously his wife is super freaking out because she's worried about him.
Yeah.
You know, they've got the kids, this family, and what happens if he has a heart attack or isn't as healthy as he thinks that he is, according to the doctor. So with all that being said, cholesterol isn't the enemy, right? It's an antioxidant. How about that? I don't think your doctor's probably ever told you that, hey, cholesterol is an antioxidant. And when you have more oxidative stress from your lifestyle, whether that's the foods that you eat the things that you drink, maybe the things that you smoke, your level of ability to adapt to your environment chemically, physically, and emotionally. That oxidative stress, the cholesterol is going to be made in your body. Your liver makes it, your brain makes it, your gut makes it, and it's there to help protect you. It's not there to kill you. And so if you have lots of oxidative stress, your body is going to make what? Less or more?
More.
It's going to make more. And what it's going to do, it's going to go in to help stabilize all the cell membranes of your body. Remember, we're 80 trillion cells. All of your cells have these phospholipid bilipid layer membranes that allow nutrients in and toxins out. They protect you. Well, cholesterol is the backbone of these membranes. So it's going to go and stabilize those membranes. So for example, if you're eating tons of seed oil, right, these omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids, doctors tell us to eat this because it lowers your LDL cholesterol. But the reason that it lowers it is because it's so toxic and all the breakdown aldehyde products and the oxidative stress, your body's got to make more cholesterol to go in and stabilize those cell membranes because it's protecting you. Well, all that cholesterol is getting pushed into the cell membranes. So guess what happens to the amount of LDL in your blood? It goes lower. So that goes lower. However, what they don't tell you is there's a marker called lipoprotein A, known as Lp(a). This is a marker on the blood that shows oxidized cholesterol. All right. It's the peroxidation index where fats are breaking down and creating more oxidative stress. That actually goes through the roof. So your ApoB or your LDL reading in your blood work is now lower. So they say you're healthier, but your oxidation index, your oxidized stress is higher because cholesterol will break down and oxidize in the wrong environment. So it's just like showing up to the scene of a fire and you see the fire and you see the fire trucks. Guys, fire trucks are not causing these fires. They may be there, but they're there to help you. Cholesterol is there to help you, and manipulating cholesterol with drugs or diet is the wrong strategy. If you remember, it wasn't that long ago, they were doing that study. I know we talked about this, and some of you guys may know about it, where they were testing cholesterol drugs, ability to lower cholesterol up against Oreo cookies.
Yep.
And they were trying to see, and this sounds preposterous, but obviously Oreo cookies are very high in linoleic acid, these seed oils like canola and soy and corn and safflower and sunflower. So they're giving people Oreo cookies and they're giving another group statins, the cholesterol lowering drugs. And guess which group had the better effect at lowering your cholesterol? It was the Oreo cookie group. And nobody would say, no doctor would say that, hey, it's a great health habit to eat Oreo cookies, although the Oreo cookies lowered your LDL cholesterol. So just lowering a number, getting into a parameter, meeting the biomarkers that the doctors say are healthier, that the drug companies say are healthy, doesn't make you healthier. That is paramount that you get that phenomenon. So anyway, pretty interesting study. Go look it up. We're definitely not suggesting Oreo cookies. We are suggesting eat real food.
Yeah, so like you said, cholesterol obviously is important. It's also important for things like hormone production.
Yes.
And so it's key. It's a key precursor to several different hormones like cortisol, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone. You need this in order to be able to regulate your body's metabolism.
Hello.
So it's important in that. And I think if we even go back to even seeing where this craziness came from, there was a scientist way back in the day in the 50s, Ansel Keys, and he was doing all of these studies showing that there was a correlation with low cholesterol and lowering heart disease. But here's the thing is all the data was fraudulent. They were cherry picking all of the data. So just like you were saying with, fire trucks causing a fire, that doesn't happen. There's a correlation there, but correlation is not causation.
Amen to that. Yeah.
And so what happened is you started now having the drug industry utilizing that study right there in order to be able to start selling more statin drugs to start lowering this because it was a research study that was out there. So they piggybacked off of that. So that's where you started getting the no or low fat movement way back in the day.
Then everybody got constipated.
And everybody got constipated. Not only that, But now
Yeah.
inflammation levels started going through the
Yeah.
roof because they were now recommending all of these different grains and fibers
And seed oil
seed oil. So now inflammation is going up. So guess what happened to heart disease?
through the roof.
It went through the roof, but what that also meant is guess what happened to statin medication recommendations?
Exploded the industry.
Exploded the industry.
Yeah.
So can you see how that right there was one of the best marketing strategies that they could ever have put out there in order to be able to sell more statin drugs, but it did not create healthier people. So correlation and causation are not the same thing. You really got to start looking at the body from a holistic point of view, see what in the world is going on. It's not just about the cholesterol. There's so many different other factors going on, even metabolically speaking, that are creating a reduction in that person's health. It's not about that person or God not putting enough statin medication in that person's body.
Yeah, the best way to fix your cholesterol is stop getting it tested. This is ridiculous. I'm telling you, it's just not a valuable test in the big picture. It wouldn't make our top 1,000 things we'd say get tested. Because when you're eating real food nutrition, you're going to find yourself eating more saturated fat, stearic acid. You're going to be getting short chain fatty acids from butter, rendered animal fats. And so all these saturated fats, they do stabilize the cell membranes. And so what happens, why? And this is the question people ask, and I think this is what Andrew was asking us, is why does my LDL go higher when I'm eating all these saturated fats? Because he was doing this carnivore animal-based diet. And it's the saturated fats are stabilizing the cell membranes. And so obviously you don't have to have as much cholesterol in the membrane. And so it's going to be more in the blood, and the body's going to have a higher reading if you get it tested versus eating more seed oil, which, holy crap, now your body's in stress. It's being damaged with all the oxidative stress. And so now you've got to actually move more cholesterol to the blood or into the cell to help protect you. So it's like this magic thing where now it looks lower on a test. And so now you're healthier. There was 2 interesting studies done. One was done in Denmark. It's the largest study of its kind. And what they were doing, they were studying who lives the longest. And that's the big hot topic now. We're in that world, Dr. Rob. In
Longevity.
fact, we were picked up for that documentary, Going to 100, the next 50, that hopefully will be out into this year, early next year, with some key anti-aging longevity experts. But what they're saying is, and what they were looking at, they studied over 10 years about 100,000 people. And what they found is that cholesterol levels, LDL, low density lipoprotein markers that were over 140, around 140 to 160, these people were the healthiest people and they lived the longest. What they also showed in an inverse correlation is that the lower your cholesterol goes, the all-cause mortality goes through the roof. So all the reasons that somebody would die is higher. So you have a higher risk of dying with a very low cholesterol. And a lot of these numbers that are low, you can't even get them that low without pharmaceutical intervention. And the higher levels live the longest. And then another study done out of Sweden, what they showed was people that had higher cholesterols and low blood glucose. So these were people that were metabolically healthy. These actually were the people that lived the longest. So the longevity studies don't say that people live longer with lower cholesterol. What they say is people that are metabolically healthy and have higher cholesterol levels are living longer and they're dying from less chronic disease. These are the facts, ladies and gentlemen. And there's obviously tons more research. We're kind of cherry picking, I guess, as well, and showing you this stuff. But if you just look at the basic science, you look at what's currently being recommended by the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association, their whole focus is getting you off saturated fats, onto seed oils, tons of grain. And they're saying that the number one thing you should be focused on are these biomarkers of lowering cholesterol. And the studies don't support that. And number one, look around, Dr. Rob. Are we healthier or are we sicker? We got more people on cholesterol drugs avoiding red meat than ever before, and we're chronically sick.
Actually, we are healthier.
We are healthier. Yes,
when I look in the mirror, I'm not speaking that into my life.
Yeah. We
Others
look
are
at the world. When you look around,
right.
The world is not healthier. They are sicker, and it is because of these faulty guidelines and this misinformation and these fear campaigns. Remember, they need us to be terrified of cholesterol, because if you can scare somebody, you can get them to do anything.
Yeah, and here's another important thing about cholesterol is cholesterol is a plays a significant role in your brain health, okay? Your brain is made up of fat. You need cholesterol in order to be able to generate these synapses in your body. People have heard of the term, for example, neuroplasticity. That's your body creating these dendritic connections in the brain that you need as you're getting older.
Wow.
Remember,
Epigenetics, right?
epigenetics. Now, also remember, statin medication, just like any other medication, this is something that we all know they all have side effects. So when they studied the people that were on these statin medications, what they saw is a dramatic shift in cognitive decline, meaning cognition started to reduce. If you don't know what cognitive decline is, this is going to be the people with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, all of
dementia,
all of those diseases right there. There is a remember, correlation and causation. We're not talking about correlation. We're talking about causation. The research showed that these people started having issues with cognitive decline the more that they were on these statin medications. So something to remember, if you're going to get healthy, you want to make sure that you're getting to the cause of the problem and then doing the things that actually improve or increase your health rather than just looking at the numbers. So some of the things that we know, right? Inflammation. There is a causation with inflammation in these things. What we know is a sign of a metabolic condition or metabolic disorder is inflammation. So you want to get yourself healthy without having to rely on the numbers from the medical doctor, the pharmaceutical industry. You know what? Find out if your body is metabolically healthy or if it isn't. And if it isn't, start doing the things that you know that you can do, doing the things that we teach that can be able to help you improve your metabolic profile.
Yeah, isn't it crazy too? We think about going back to Andrew, our friend, and his email to us wanting to find out what to do. Think about that. He's whether the changes, and we're not saying yes or no to the carnivore diet. It's short term. It's like any diet. It can help maybe initially. It's probably not the best long-term strategy. Whatever. He lost 31 pounds. He feels better, more mental clarity. Yeah. And he had to go to his doctor, although he knows that he's doing better. He had to go to his doctor to tell him how unhealthy he was and that what was missing were more chemicals into his blood supply. It's so ridiculous to think that way. When you start taking responsibility for your health, when you start being intentional with the choices that you're making, right out of the gate, you are getting healthier. You don't need us or any other doctor or some pharmaceutical industry to now tell you that that's not true and that you need their help. I just find it hard to believe that wrestling or, forcing numbers into a box that the drug companies check off and say, now you're healthy, actually makes you healthier. Because that revolves around any of these tests, even like blood sugar, right? They want you to get your blood sugar, take these drugs. How is chemically forcing blood sugar making you healthy? How is chemically forcing your cholesterol down against your body's will going to make you healthy? Remember, your body's always doing the right thing under the circumstances. So the goal is never oral therapy for the rest of your life. The goal is create an environment, Dr. Rob, where great things are more likely to happen. And this is why I love being in the metabolic space and what you're able to do. And it happens very, very quickly. And those of you who've gone through our Happy, Healthy, Thin Metabolism Reset program know the benefits and how quickly it can happen in just weeks as you get your body fat adapted and insulin sensitive and start detoxing your body of chemicals and seed oil, how quickly metabolically you turn around. You don't need to go ask your doctor if you're healthy. You know you're healthy because you know your body better than anybody else. And that ultimately is your responsibility.
Yeah, once we can be able to create a foundation where we know exactly what's going on with your metabolism. To answer a question, one of the listeners was asking about, okay, what kind of tests do you recommend as far as your metabolic profile goes? Well, number one is if you haven't gone through this program that we're talking about to be able to get yourself to a good baseline, then go to metabolismscore.com. There's a quiz in there that can be able to show you, okay, are you metabolically healthy? Are you not? Once we now are, understand what the playing field that we're dealing with and what the foundation is, then there's recommendations that we can be able to give to you. Those people who have gone through our program and then done our next level program, which is called the Happy Healthy for Life program, know that there is a metabolic profile test that we use. So those of you asking that question, that's how you get access to that, is the Happy Healthy for Life program. So we'll give people access to that here probably about a month and a half, because that's something that we outline as well. For those of you guys who are coming to the Happy Healthy for Life retreat that we've got coming up, called The Art of Living Happy Healthy, where it's not just about us giving you information, it's about you experiencing the information in real time. You eat the foods that we eat. You do the things that we do. You wake up in the morning, you ground with us, you pray with us, you meditate with us, you do the exercise that we do. All of these things that actually help to also improve your metabolic profile, because it isn't just about looking at your body at a cellular level and looking at like we were talking about with the numbers. It really is a mind, body, spirit connection. It is all connected. So you just don't even realize how much even stress can affect your body, right? And your cholesterol levels or your cortisol levels, your insulin levels.
Well,
all
if you
of
are
those different
stressed, it's
things.
going to go up.
Totally.
Right? If you're stressed out, that's creating stress. And so that stress creates oxidative reactive species. So your body's going to be it's going to be under more damage. So what do you think your body's going to do? Remember, your body makes cholesterol. It's making it. Your brain makes it. Your stomach, your gut, your liver, all those things make cholesterol because it's vital. So if you're stressed out, in fact, our good friend, Dr. Raymond Helu, our friend over in Spain that we work with, he even said, just even like, that 10 minutes of that uncontrolled anxiety, stress that you get in the pit of your gut that just drives you crazy or you can't even sleep. That's like drinking a liter of whiskey on your liver. There is no difference. Stress is stress is stress. You either are adapting to it or you're not, and chemically forcing, once again, your cholesterol down doesn't make you a healthier person. In fact, the opposite has been shown, that you actually would die sooner and have a lesser quality of life and be at higher risk for things. Why would suicide rates go up in people who have low cholesterol? Well, think about it. Like you said, it's in your brain, it's in your nervous system. And unlike other cells and tissues in your body that can break down and regenerate and turn over completely, almost within a 400-day cycle, nervous system tissue that can replicate, that can regenerate, that takes 7 years. 7 years. So you want to give your body good, healthy fats, avoid seed oils, industrial seed oils, omega-6. And this is one of the reasons why we also created the Happy Healthy Metabolism program, is because seed oil, this damaging inflammatory fat, it has a 680-day half-life. That's right. It stays in your body. So after 680 days, half of it's still in your tissue, in your nervous system, in your DNA, in your mitochondria. It's in your body. And remember, omega-6 and omega-3, they prepare your body for hibernation. That's right. It's called torpor. It's a hibernation metabolic rate. So like that's good for bears and squirrels. They're foraging, eating cold water fish and lots of omega-3 and omega-6 to lower their metabolic rate. Not something we want to be doing as a human, because we don't hibernate. That's exactly what you do. So part of that program is to help eliminate, safely displace all those omega-6s out of your system, upregulate your metabolism, and then bring back in all the great foods, fats, and oils and things that you need to help, like you said, Dr. Rob, create that strong metabolic foundation. But I think, in recap, as we're finishing up here, the answer is just think and listen to your intuition. Does it really make sense to take drugs to create health? Do you really trust the drug industry? Who trains your doctor? Follow the money. The burden of proof isn't on us. It isn't on you. It's on the for-profit drug industry, and they're making more money hand over fist. I don't think that they're in business to help fund more research and prey on our emotions to put themselves out of business. It is a business. They do have a responsibility to their shareholders, and that is to make more money.
Yeah, so let's talk about some action steps here, okay? Action steps to make it simple, right? So just like Dr. Randy was saying, action step, you know what? Get rid of the seed oils.
Get them
okay?
out.
Get them out, okay? Easy enough. Step number 2 is replace those seed oils that you just got rid of. Replace it with healthy fats. Healthiest fat that we know of is SCT oil. Shameless plug.
Amen to that.
SCToil.com.
It is the best.
Right, there you go. Best.
Yeah.
Yeah, best on the planet. It's actually new and improved here coming up shortly. People are going to start getting 70% better.
We're going to get your
Absolutely.
mind blown. Yeah.
And then action step number 3, I would say this is one I love, and you may add another one into this, but action number 3 is just a gratitude practice. Starting every single day in gratitude. I literally, Anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge journaler. I've got a ritual that I do every single morning. And part of that is to write down a minimum of 3 things that I am grateful for every single day. I know it sounds so simple, but sometimes simple is not the same as easy. It's not the easiest thing to do to wake up first thing in the morning and actually get into that, because it seems like the day is like already started in your mind before you even get out of bed.
Yeah.
And so rather than, picking up your cell phone first thing, why not pick up your journal and write down the 3 things that you're most grateful for?
No, that is huge right there. In fact, I wish there was a study that was out there. Maybe we need to get this study put together. We took 2 groups of people, one on cholesterol drugs, one taking daily vitamin G. And I can promise you, we'll follow those 2 groups of people. I'm going to tell you right now, we already know who would live longer, have more things right go their way, because they expect that they know life doesn't happen to them, it happens for them, and they will be the ones that are thriving. That right there, vitamin gratitude, cannot be minimized. It is huge. And all the people that we know, they're the healthiest people in the world. They aren't going to doctors, they're not taking drugs, and they practice gratitude every single day.
There you go. So that's the action steps right there. Get to it. Experience life, live your happiest, healthiest life.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for listening to the show, The Happy, Healthy Life. Make sure that you like it, subscribe, share
it. Yeah, review it, guys. Review it on Apple. If you can, give us that 5-star review. Let us know. In fact, we added a lot of new people to the podcast. Some people we met this last weekend in California. So if you're new, you're catching this episode for the first time, get on here, like it, share it, get it out there. That really is what it boils down to, is sharing the message. It is grassroots. That's just how it changes. Each one reach one. That is how we make the impact.
Yeah, and just a snippet to see what's coming up. Not a snippet, but a preview is what I was trying to say.
Okay.
A preview is we do have a medical doctor that's going to come on with us, and this is a medical doctor who actually went against the system. He went against the recommendation for the jab. If you guys know, the COVID jab, went against that. Yep. So he's gonna talk about that. Very candid, open discussion. It's always good being able to get the perspective of a medical doctor, his views on things, and he's going to share with us. We actually have a couple medical doctors that are going to be coming on, which I'm looking forward to those interviews.
Yeah, and that's why, guys, we're not against medicine and doctors and life-saving interventions. That's not the message here. Those are there. But remember, crisis care is about 3% of the healthcare system. 97% of it is treating chronic disease, because people are metabolically sick and drug companies are capitalizing on this crisis. And so now I'm excited to bring those guys on, because it doesn't matter what type of doctor you are. Heck, does it really matter what letters are behind your name? Common sense is common sense. But I love it because there's such a reverence in our country for the medical system. I love it when these doctors come out of the system, stand up for what's right, because they're no longer willing to take the check or take the deal and suppress the truth. So y'all are in for a huge treat coming up. In fact, we've got some pretty awesome stuff lined up coming over the next several weeks and months, with podcast episodes, bringing on some guests. In fact, our episode, we'll let you guys know, should be released today. This was our episode with Brian Sanders at Peak Human. That's the podcast. Brian Sanders, he's producing a film, a documentary called Food Lies. He has the Sapien Center down in Austin, Texas. This guy is a holistic health leader. He's a rock star, great friend of ours. I think the episode was insanely full of incredible content that will drop today. We'll let you guys know, or go check out Peak Human with Brian Sanders.
Yep, we'll put that information in the show notes. So again, thanks for watching and listening. You guys have a wonderful day. For our clients, don't go anywhere.
Thanks for listening to the Happy, Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life, or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.